Welcome to Decorating Places. We're going to turn this sanctuary into a super spectacular African savanna. The amazing Bruce Berry has drawn up the plans, and he'll teach us some tips and tricks along the way. Bruce is the founder of Wacky World Studios and creates incredible environments around the world. We're lucky enough to have him here, helping us create our wildest VBS ever. Roar! Our first step is to protect the church floor while we do our set construction. That starts with laying out plastic sheeting and taping all the pieces down to protect the carpet from any spills. We're also setting up workstations to keep our supplies organized.
I'll tell you, we are going to build huge trees, waterfalls, grass, the Serengeti grass. It's going to be an African adventure, and it's going to be a blast building it.
Bruce is going to start us off by telling us how to build this tremendously tall tree.
Now here we are at the construction table, and what we're about to do is create the base for the kubwa tree, which means large. So this is going to be the base for it so it'll stand up. We're using a 5-gallon bucket, 50 pound of concrete. We're gonna put this into here with a little bit of water with a 2x4 board that is 10 foot tall inside, and this is gonna create our base for our tree.
Make sure you use your level to ensure your tree will have a sturdy foundation. We cut shims to hold our board in place while the concrete dries. Next, we will get started on our wonderful waterfall. First, we are going to get started on creating the majestic rock for the tippy top. We are going to create this out of 2 pieces of foam sheeting that you can get at your local home improvement store. Our volunteers are getting our foam ready by peeling off the outer layers. As you're watching the video, you can check online for more details at group.com/VBSTools.
So this is going to be the top part of our majestic rock. And what I want this to be is a beautiful outcropping on top of the rock. So you can see I've taken a Sharpie, kind of gone down around the top and the sides now. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no rock that looks the same, so there is no right or wrong. But once we get done cutting this and gluing it all together, it's going to be one great majestic rock.
We are using hot knives for our foam sculpting. They're so fun and easy to work with and makes creativity mess-free. They're available for purchase at group.com. Bruce wants to make our rock thicker, so we'll create another one just like we did the first.
So you might be a little nervous about redrawing that magnificent, majestic stone again to get it perfect, but you don't have to worry about it because we have the one we just cut, and we're just gonna trace around it to get the other level of the majestic rock.
Make sure you always wear gloves and protective eyewear while working in a well-ventilated area. Let's see how our kubwa tree is coming along.
All right, guys, you get an awesome job on these buckets. The concrete is hardened inside of our 5-gallon buckets. We got some nice weight here. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the 1x2s up on the top, and what we're gonna do is frame it. That's gonna give us our stability up on top here. Then we're gonna take our 1x2s, and what they're gonna be is these are gonna become our branches. Just like that, each one is going to be a branch. Now, depending on your stage, if you don't have this big of a stage, of course your tree is gonna be smaller, or if you have a very big stage, it can also be bigger.
We have our 2 main pieces cut out for our majestic rock. Now, let's tune in to see how Bruce will use scrap foam to make it more grand.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to add depth to our rock waterfall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just taking a yardstick and I'm taking the edge of the yardstick, and what I want is I want it to be about, let's say, a 7-inch thick rock to give it a lot of weight. So I'm putting it on 7 inches, I'm taking my marker, and watch this. If you can hold that foam down there for me, Holly, so it doesn't go anywhere. Thank you, Molly. And then if you see, if I just lay that marker on that edge and just carry it right down. That gives me my perfect straight line. So after I get done cutting that, I'm gonna move it around, do the same thing, like 7 inches, put my marker on it. And run it straight down. And that's how you get a straight line, using a yardstick and a marker.
Now, to attach our scrap foam to the pieces we cut out earlier.
So what we're going to do is just on the edge here, where it doesn't go over the edge of the rock, we're just gonna take our marker here and mark it. Then we're gonna take some foam, make sure you shake it up. Please make sure you wear gloves, because you don't wanna get this stuff on you. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay carefully a small bead.
We're using Great Stuff foam adhesive to stick all the pieces together. You can find Great Stuff at your local home improvement store.
And what I do is I press it down in there and just kind of push it back and forth. Push it down. And then what I do is, because what it does, it expands. And then what I'll do is I'll take it off and I'll leave it off for maybe about a minute and a half. After the minute and a half, then what I'll do is I will put it back on, and that way it'll be a nice tight seal and won't expand.
After gluing on all the pieces, let the foam sit for about a half hour. Then you'll be ready to attach the top piece.
So we're gonna glue on our top. So what we're going to do is we're just gonna go around the top of it, just with foam. Just a nice little bead all the way around.
Great Stuff is really sticky, so make sure you have your gloves on.
And if you see some gaps and cracks, don't be afraid to fill it. It's just gonna make it that much stronger. So now what we're gonna do is, now that our foam is all the way around, you're gonna guide it up as much as you can. So if you would, Julia down there, just guide it up as best as you can.
Next, we're simply using cardboard boxes as our main structure. You can ask your congregation to bring in any old boxes they might have lying around. Any shape or size will work. We'll cut a slant in one of our boxes so that our majestic rock will be at an angle.
So what Megan's doing is we're gluing the last couple of boxes on with our hot glue gun. And you can see how this one is I have even with this. And remember that box that we cut on an angle? We're gonna glue that one on top. That'll give us our pitch of our big rock. And then as soon as we put that paper on there, we're gonna have a rock waterfall. All right, now what we're doing is we're skinning our tree with brown paper. And the technique that I came up with is, what you do is you tri-fold this back and forth, big, small, large. So we already have one. You really want to put the creases in there so it stays in there, and then we're going to tri-fold it back. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. You don't want it even. All right, tri-fold it again. And you want those creases in there. The whole purpose of this is getting that long bark going down the tree, because you got to remember our tree's 10 foot tall. Now, one of the techniques that they came up with to give it a better look and feel is they crumpled the whole thing up together. And just have fun with it. There you go. So then what you do is unravel it. We use a staple gun to put it on the tree.
While those friends work on the tree paper, let's head back to the waterfall, where we have all the boxes glued and ready to attach to the majestic rock.
There's the rock. There you go, bring it out forward a little bit. There you go, perfect, we're there. Look how awesome that rock looks up there. Now when we add the paper and the waterfall and the cellophane, this thing is going to be wonderful.
Now Now we're moving the waterfall up to the stage. We attach the rock to the slanted box with lots of great stuff foam. Bruce is ready to start adding paper to make it look like a real slate rock.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our craft paper at 18 inches wide, and we're gonna do it at about 8 foot long strips, and we're gonna fold it back and forth like a trifold, crimple it up, and that's gonna give us a slate edge on our rock. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna take and trifold. Fold one way, flip it, do it another, and then don't make them all the same size, make them different sizes. Then you wanna do this all the way down. Then you wanna take it and you wanna crumple it, just like we did on the tree. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna place that on the edge of the rock, and that's gonna look like real slate.
You can simply attach the paper to the rock using roofing nails.
Okay, now that we did the accordion paper back and forth, but you can see close up how that just totally changes the edge and makes it look like real rock.
Next, we will start making the canopy for the top of our tree. To do this, we simply cut an abstract shape out of 4x8 cardboard. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Bruce is going to show us how to add color to bring it to life.
Okay, so what we have is we have 3 different color greens. This is cardboard. You don't want to soak it with a whole lot of paint. But what we want to do is you just want to get enough paint in there. It doesn't have to be solid. And I'm going to squirt it with just a little water. Don't soak it. That's the biggest thing. Then I'm going to come in here with another color green. And this is what we call muddling it together. See how it's kind of blending the 2 colors together? And then back here with the dark. And the purpose of this is because when we put it on top of our tree, it's going to give the illusion of a big canopy up underneath the tree. So that's why you want to paint it this different shades of green, because, you know, where the sun would be hitting it. So we'll go here with this light. See how I'm just kind of putting it together, and muddling is bringing 2 colors together. And you see how I'm doing a crosshatch pattern. See, crosshatch like an X. And then you just kind of go over and see how it kind of blends it in, almost like airbrushing.
You don't have to worry about matching our paint colors or brand exactly. Be creative. Make sure to use flat, latex paint because it dries faster and covers more evenly. You can find all the paint colors online at group.com/VBS Tools.
And look at this. This is just cardboard with 3 different greens on it that we muddled together. Very nice. So this is going to go on top, and this is going to give us, like we're underneath the canopy of the tree, up underneath here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take crepe paper, we're going to make fake leaves, we're going to do other leaves on top of that and make this a full tree. This tree is looking awesome. Hey guys, what we're doing now is we're doing the underneath of our huge rock, our majestic rock. And again, same color paper. This is the darker gray that I used. So what we're doing is we're taking the little roofing nails that we've been using and just pinning it into the foam. And what they're gonna do is they're just gonna kind of sculpt the paper and kind of mold it and fold it around the edge there to get this majestic rock look and feel. So when we're done, this is gonna look like one massive piece of stone.
Look how cool our majestic rock is looking. Next, Bruce will use a different shade of gray paper to create the waterfall base.
So this one is going to be a lighter shade of the gray. And what we want to do is we want to kind of not do it by the box. So we're going to kind of bring it down into here and then down into here and just have fun with it. But here's the key, guys, what you don't want to do. You don't want to crumple this up too much. Just kind of take it, do one little crunch, and that's it. We want to keep it somewhat smooth and somewhat wrinkled, okay? And then what we're going to do is start stapling it to our boxes.
Can you believe how simple and cost-effective this design is? Next, Bruce has an awesome idea to get our waterfall flowing.
This is when everything starts to come to life, guys. We're gonna actually make a waterfall coming out of this rock. So what we did is we took blue cellophane and we took the two stir sticks, put them together so we have one layer. On the back layer, what we've done is we've ripped it and torn it. So when we do put the fan on that, with the right amount of lighting, it's gonna give you that shimmer. It's just gonna be that beautiful waterfall coming out. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it right up underneath that major rock. We're gonna use some hot glue, and then we're gonna trail it all the way down. And then we're actually gonna add another one. So this is gonna have two little waterfalls coming out from underneath the stone. Okay, now I'm talking about adding color, and I love it. You can see the different shades greens. We have a darker green of crepe paper and a light green of crepe paper. This is just great therapy. This is like popping bubble wrap, and all you want to do is just kind of wad it up, and at one edge of it, you want to kind of just rip and tear. So that'll give us the bottom of the leaves, and then what we're going to do is we're gluing around the top of our edge, on top of our tree, and look at this. We have one beautiful canopy.
Crepe paper is available at group.com. Our tree is already looking incredible, but let's take it to the next level by adding some texture in a super simple way.
What I want to do is I want to add a lot more depth. So what we did is we just got a dark brown paint. I thinned it down with a little bit of water, probably 70-30 to water, put it in a squirt bottle. And what we're going to do is, this is when you have to think like a tree. And what we're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of stand back, and you can see, when I stand back, you see those little speckles going on. Then what you do is you take a brush, and what those speckles become is almost bark from a tree. Now it drips, see that? It makes a big difference. It's giving it depth, and that's what we're creating, is more depth. Now, when we get inside the crevices, that's where the sun doesn't catch it, and it just gets real dark and dirty inside there. And then what we're gonna do is I'm pushing the nozzle a little bit heavier, and I'm taking the brush and then I'm going in there and kind of just slopping the paint in there, not too crazy, but that's gonna give it that nice depth. You also can use, it's a latex brand of spray paint. Now it does throw off a little bit of an odor, so you may want to put a fan or open a door or anything. But this gives you a little bit more control, where I can actually go in here and really get that depth and really pull out that bark, you know, where the sun hasn't hit it. And it just gives it that much more depth.
Let's move on to make some grass for our savanna. It's a super simple element that adds some awesome depth to our scene.
Bright green poster board. And what we're doing is, it's just a rough layout, but it's just, we want it to look like grass. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount it to a piece of foam, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna curl some of these. We want it to look like leaves and grass. Okay, now since we have this beautiful, majestic rock waterfall, we gotta have a pond where all this water gathers, right, Mike? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our blue cellophane and we're just going to roll it out. We're gonna have it come out maybe about 10 feet, and we're gonna tape it all down. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around it with a utility knife and give it this beautiful contoured edge on it so it's not so square and flat.
Even easier, you can just buy this colorful water fabric from group.com. Bruce has a rockin' way to utilize some recycled material.
This was our floor drop, our plastic floor drop that we had on the floor, and they were rolling it up, and I'm going, hey, wait a minute. You know what? We could use this as batting for our rocks. So that's what we're gonna do, is I took a piece of paper that we had left over, and basically what we're gonna do, this is a bad wrapping job for a Christmas present. So what you're gonna do is roll it out, and we're gonna throw this piece of plastic down, like that. We're gonna take this other one upside down. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna just take the paper. You'd hand me a piece of tape there, Sarah, thank you. Now, if you're looking for bad wrapping jobs, which I am not the best at, I'm sure you can find a volunteer of a dad who does not like to wrap. And I have to be honest with you, over the years, some of my wrapping of Christmas present have looked just like that. But you look at that, we got a rock.
Our friends cut out all our grass for our savanna. Now, Bruce will show us how to make it stand.
But it's just like, okay, so we cut it out. How is it going to stand up? Well, we have some scrap foam here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this piece of scrap foam and watch what I'm going to do here. Is I'm going to cut it in a curve, and I want to have as much in the back to support the green. And I don't want to stray. See how I'm just giving it a nice curve like that? So that's what it's going to look like. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our little nails and we are going to pin it to the front of this.
We're going to use the same technique of spraying paint we used on our tree to add texture to our waterfall.
Okay, you know us, we're all about the details. So we have these beautiful rocks, but I wanted to add just a little bit more texture. You know how we crimp the paper to give it the angles on the rocks and stuff? Well, here's some dark brown, same brown that we put on the tree. I'm just standing back, and you can see where it just gives it a little bit of stippling to it, and it just gives it a little bit more rock texture. Then I have this spray can. This is a water-based spray can, and because the shadows, and just think to yourself, where would the sun hit and where it would not hit? So it wouldn't hit up in here. So I'm just going in. I'm about 16 to 18 inches away, and you see how I'm just kind of kissing, and that means just kissing the highlights of the paper that we crimped. And what that does is it just pops it out just a little bit more.
Now this is exciting! We're setting up for our Roar fabric wall hanging, which is available from group.com. This is an easy way to instantly add color and depth to your set. There are multiple ways to hang this. You can attach it to a wall, build a wood structure out of 2x4s to hang it from, or your church may even have pipe and drape like ours did.
Now this backdrop, it just ties the whole set together and makes it totally complete. If you have any of these ficus plants or trees or little tiny plants laying around in church, I want you to go grab them, because if you can set them up around some of the 3D pieces here, what it's doing, it's making layers and giving you that depth you want. So Jewel, if you would, go ahead and just throw that little ficus tree right there on the corner of the waterfall. And you can see what a difference that makes, that blends in with our mural work. And that's that 3D effect and that layering that you want to do. You know, and if you also have some just plants around the church, go ahead and grab them. And what we did is we kind of just placed them around the rock. And I've heard of people just going to garage sales also and just grabbing plants, and don't be afraid to bust them up. The other thing that we have here, this is tissue grass that you can get at Group. And when you get it out, you kind of just crumple it up and we kind of lay it down on the ground, and you can see what a great look that gives it.
Now it's time to hang our colorful Roar VBS logo display. Mount the logo from the giant decorating poster pack on foam core, or download and print out a logo and make it as big or as small as you need to fill your space. Easy. Now for our favorite part, adding these wild and brightly colored buddies that your church will love. You can find them in the giant Bible Memory Buddy poster pack at group.com. Simply attach them to foam core to make them stand.
Woo! All right, everybody, great job, great job. Wow, amazing. We built this set in a day and a half. It's just amazing. Out of 2x4s and mostly paper. Can you believe it? Mostly paper. I'm just amazed. So great job, everybody. But my biggest thing is always going the extra mile. And what I would do is if you have any table lamps or little spotlights like this laying around your church, please light your set. It's so important. It makes your set truly breathe and makes it come to life. We'll see you next time on Decorating Places. All right, guys.
Thanks for joining us for Decorating Places Roar. We know this set is going to create a memorable environment for your kids to discover that when life is wild, God is good. You can find us by searching Group VBS on Facebook, Instagram, or Pinterest.